And we're live. Welcome to this week's edition of Roomies and Movies. This week we're going to be talking about a little bit about 13 Reasons Why, the weeklies of Legion and Westworld. Luke had me watch Kissing Booth for some odd reason. Cargo, Picnic at the Hanging Tree, and Solo. I can't believe how much we actually watched. Well, I watched this week because you didn't do 13 Reasons, did you?
No.
Is that the only one you didn't watch?
Yeah. I told you last week I wasn't doing it anymore.
No. I totally told you that you didn't have to, so I'll let you off the hook on that one. So Picnic at the Hanging Tree was 6 episodes. The other ones were a couple-hour movies, so a pretty decent week.
Yeah, it was just some stuff, you know.
I have a sneaky suspicion that you didn't have fun this week.
That's a funny suspicion. I guess we'll find out, huh?
Yeah, I suppose we will. How'd you feel about the weeklies then?
I don't know. Which one do we start with?
Let's start with Legion, I guess.
It was better, but still seems so disjointed, I guess.
I agree. I think they're finding some commonality, and I think they're starting to weave them together.
But it's the same. I had the same feeling with Westworld, where like these down weeks, I'm like, these shows aren't meant to be watched this way. Probably, like once you see it all, and you realize what they're doing, that's gonna be much more forgiving to episodes like these.
Yeah, because it seems like there's an actual story arc. There's not so much to try and grasp onto as there was that first season. Or maybe there is, and we're just not going to catch it until all these pieces start coming together.
And I hope that soon.
It felt like they were doing that because there were a couple glitches like in the tent. It seemed like everything we've seen to this point is going to be necessary. And that's me completely giving them 100% benefit of the doubt. I really did like the scenes where they were walking in the desert, and it had this real comic book vibe because it was like panel layout and whatnot.
Yeah.
Was there anything you dug about this episode?
No, again, it's just like we have to wait and see. Like, like David is doing something with everyone's mind, but like we're sequestered off. We don't know what he is doing. It seems like he's hiding all these different threads of this plan in different people's heads to not alert the Shadow King, but in the same way, we don't have the full scope of what he's doing. So until either the plan comes off or put into motion and fails, seems how the Shadow King also is doing stuff with like Melanie and trying to use her as a saboteur. Until you see where it's really going, there's just kind of an emptiness to it all. It's just like,
I was surprised that Melanie popped up. I thought she was dead for some reason because we haven't seen her in the last 3 or 4 episodes now. So that was interesting. It's cool to see that they're still pretty evenly matched. As you were saying, I think this season he has control of his powers in a way that makes the viewer kind of lose their mind because they aren't able to keep track of everything. So, give me just a second. Sorry, I'm back. I had to check it with somebody wanted something outside. So,
fair enough. I was very scared.
The show's all yours. Take it wherever you need to. So, yeah, Legion is quite messy just because I think it wants to be messy.
It's interesting.
It's definitely not it's not as the first one, the first season felt, for sure.
Yeah. So, like I said, I'll give it a couple more episodes to see if like things congeal before I'm like, this was kind of a bad follow-up season, I guess.
I mean, honestly, we only have 3 episodes to go, so
yeah.
we'll see if
So
it
they
holds true.
better get their shit together. Because now at this point, it's just like, what's this crazy Minotaur thing, huh? What's he doing now? Hanging out?
I have no idea. The whole photometry and the mainframe mind type thing is. There's so many weird things that there's too much that doesn't make sense to where the first season everything made sense because it was chaotic.
Yes,
So.
and you could see what they were doing. Now a lot of the seasons, I'm like, I could usually follow the show down these weird, like, metaphysical pathways they decided to choose and get what they were trying to say. But now a lot of times I'm just like, I'm not sure. You're gonna have to give me something.
Yeah, for the most part. Yeah, with 3 episodes to go, I mean, we're committed at this point, and like, I'm still enjoying it, just not as much as that chaos from the first season.
Agreed.
Which is very much the same point for Westworld. Like, that show has just become a mess for the sake of being a mess.
It's weird because I think this episode would have been a lot more impactful if they had like been a little more frugal in their editing. Like, there's scenes that I felt like would have played a lot better if they hadn't gone past a certain point. You know, like, you reach like in like the Maeve storyline, she meets her kid and you get the turnaround of her new mother is behind her. Like, if you cut there, you leave Maeve in like this distraught point of like emotional fragility. But instead of like, oh, and now the Ghost Nation's riding in and we're gonna need to shoot some people and run. Like, it's just like there's some things that.
Yeah, it's so weird because it seems like the Ghost Nation is saving the people. I think we've touched on this before. So, like, obviously, those only being hosts, like, I don't know, it's just confusing and a mess, and it feels like they're almost juking us with this, like, speed scenario where, you know, on the bus when they're everybody's standing still for like 40 seconds so they can dub over a tape and just play it on a loop. It feels like that's what they've done inside the cradle, so it doesn't notice that the hosts have control and can shoot people. Like, when fucking Hannibal showed up, I was like, I just don't know anymore.
See, I think that just makes sense to what we were talking about like a couple episodes ago, where Ford has basically used the process of recreating his own mind to make himself immortal. He just placed himself in the cradle, and now he's controlling everything from within it. So, I mean, it makes sense.
I absolutely think that sphere that he stole that one time was the Ford's.
It was the replica of Ford's consciousness, and then they put it in the cradle, and he's running everything from in there now. So everything's kind of, you know, like, it's about where I thought it would be. I do find, what is it? I think the I can't remember the character's name. I'm sure he has a name. The Ed Harris stuff with his daughter is super strong this week.
Was it though?
It really was. Yeah.
I don't know. That stuff fell way short for me. Because it's just Ed Harris not trusting what he's seeing, even though this would have been host would have had to ride out to find where he was. But I could see why he would be fearful of that fact. I'm intrigued. I'm still intrigued by her bringing him home. Obviously, Ed Harris is slipping and not noticing, like picking up those cues, like on the arrows and stuff. Like, I don't know. I'm so disassociated with it at this point. I mean, we're done with Shogun World. It seems like
Sure.
it doesn't make sense that Maeve decided to help them out to let them decide, and like they hit on that point so much that it was like I'm just not intrigued by it anymore. Like
Well,
we
I mean,
have
that's
robots and robots.
Well, no, it's like Maeve is the counterpoint to what Dolores is doing. You know, she's letting the people in Shogun World decide what they want to do, whereas Dolores is literally altering Teddy's consciousness to make her fit more into what she wants him to do. Like,
Listen to me. Cyclops is my favorite character on the show still, for sure. Now that he's such a disgruntled he's just like, yeah, whatever I'm doing, I'm not controlling any of it. So fuck you, fuck this, fuck that world, fuck everything. So it's whatever. I'm just gonna shoot people at random. Like, Cyclops #1.
And like, there is that cool moment where like, you know, he hands the human the gun with one bullet, and he's like, "That's the last time, Mercy. Better use it quick." But I'm like, every single window on that train comes down. That guy could just get off the train. There's nothing stopping him.
Yeah, but that train was built for speed.
It was, where it looked like it was going like 700 miles an hour on the map, and then you see it, and it's just kind of chugging along.
I did see something on the internet that showed Teddy was one of the floaters from a previous episode.
In the first episode, when it shows.
Yeah, I never picked that up, so.
It literally, like, the last shot of that episode was his face underwater. When, like, Bernard and them come across all the dead hosts in the water. Like, it literally zooms in on Teddy.
I think they were still talking about the tiger, and I was like, ooh, a tiger. So.
No.
Yeah, I don't know about the show. It's gotten too messy. It seems like they're really just. It's really sloppy writing. It's got that Lost vibe that I just don't care to see right now. I think it's crossed that point from where it was being smart and for intelligent people, and now it just wants to deceive and trick people, like just for something to do.
I'm cool with it as long as like it's fun. I don't care, and like I'm getting some of that. You know, like there was a sweet sword fight in this episode, and like
there was. I did appreciate that in Cyclops. So I can't say this episode was a bummer, but compared to what the first season was intriguing every episode, and like this is just like fun bits sprinkled in and out. I'm intrigued to see what the showdown between Dolores and the actual humans is going to be like. Since they're trying to get Abernathy out of there, and I'm sure they're turning him into some roller cart person, like from that guy from Dune.
Have we yet to discuss that, like, it's really dumb that Delos puts all this confidential information inside a host's head? Like, that's the dumbest idea ever. Like, we have all these secret bases where, like, we've tried recreating human consciousness and just, like, keep murdering this guy. But no, we're gonna hide all of our delicate information in a host's head and let him wander the park. It's so dumb.
Also, it's a really strange thing that's happening that they've showed that like little explosions and whatnot have to be like triggered by the computer or whatever. Like they're like fanfare, and like that's what the guns won't shoot humans thing is like. But when that train loaded with explosives like crashes into essentially where the humans are, it's strange that that's not just like it just slams into the side and it's like, oh yeah, well I guess we failed because we can't attack society, I guess. But I don't know.
You're thinking about too hard. Just robots killing
me. I really am, and it's like I want there to be more to it, but it just seems like this is just take it at face value seasons.
Yeah.
And I don't want it to be that.
Until like there's some
especially with Ford showing up, and it's like, ooh, there's so many mysteries, and it's like, God damn it.
There's really not. It's like he put his consciousness in the cradle to control it. Like it's not.
No, I know. that's the hard part for me, because that first season was riddled with mysteries, and like you really couldn't tell. You had a good idea of where it was going, but like this is like, oh, this is how things are laying out, and there's going to be a bloodbath between humans and robots. From I don't know how the hosts could even fight them, considering they have less advanced power and guns and everything. We already saw that showdown.
Yeah,
the
but
whole
like
Maeve being a
everyone on
fucking whisperer is bullshit. Like, I just hate that so much.
silly, you're silly. Just enjoy things.
Yeah. I want to so much, but if she wants to play that card, she has to play that card all the time. Like, why wouldn't she just fry the mom's brains and just swap the daughter's brain and be like, oh yeah, I'm mom now? Like,
well, she literally didn't have time to do that. Like, Ghost Nation attacked me.
No way. She fucking squared off with the one guy when he called her a witch. She's like, I'm going to mess with your mind. It's like, I don't know.
Yeah, but she's letting the other guy have his honor.
I'm just nitpicking.
You are.
I'm liking it, just not to the extent that I wish I would be. Because it just seems like there's no things they're connecting. Like, it's just straightforward, and I don't know. That seems
it's again the same thing we were just talking about. It's like, you can't. This is one of those shows that it feels hard to judge week by week, because what we learn in 2 weeks could alter how we've seen the past 4 episodes now.
Yeah, I get that. And plus, we only have a few episodes of that left too. So
it is. We're almost out of TV time. It's good. It's good stuff.
So how awesome was 13 Reasons Why? I'll tell you, it was awesome.
Shut up. I fucking hate you.
Okay. So, I'm at real odds with this show, because I think it's just like the first season. I think this second season is on par with that level. I think it's an important show. It starts conversations with teenagers, young adults, and their parents for the most part. I think it makes these conversations easier to access. And I think the writing is very strong. I found myself hating Clay after we got off the podcast last week, and I just didn't care for his character. And we don't really see him a lot in this second season. There are people that have dedicated episodes, and Clay maybe is in the background of a couple of the episodes, but I found myself hating Clay because of things he was doing, and I think that's by intention. And that's where I get to where this show is smartly written. There's obviously flaws to it. Obviously, the whole court case just being fucking loose and played as loose as it is, and not anywhere close to a real court case, is kind of a thing that bugs me. But at the same point, we guessed everything that played out. I think that first season was really strong, and like how it had many things that it wanted to talk about, but it didn't know how it wanted to operate. And this season's very much about dealing with trauma and this whole rape and the Me Too movement. Like, it touches on a few of the other things, but this one's heavily influenced by the whole rape trial type conditions. So I thought it was important. I'm glad I even watched the behind the scenes interview afterward, like the whole hour-long special they had, like with the cast and characters, like, because at the end I really hated a few of these characters, and seeing them actually, like, those are the just characters they were portrayed. I was like, all right, if I see you, I won't call you a bad name or spit on the ground or something like that. So
I will. If I see that Clay kid, he's getting punched in the mouth.
But he's so defenseless. Don't take it out of Clay. He's got a new brother too. I didn't tell you that. They decided to adopt Justin.
The meth crackhead homeless kid?
Yeah, for sure.
No.
Okay, so that was
that family can't control their one kid. They don't need to adopt a fucking crackhead.
First of all, so we get back into the show for where we left off, probably 2 episodes later. Huge fight about Justin staying there, being a drug addict, whatever, to the point where Clay's parents are like, just separate. The mom doesn't live at the house anymore for like 3-4 episodes.
So they decide to fix their marriage by adopting a wayward teen. That's going to work out well for everyone.
Hold on. It was very strong moments for the dad that didn't seem like he felt very complacent for the most part. But he realized that the family was tearing themselves apart for no other reason because everybody was hurt. Clay goes ahead and releases the tapes anonymously, except they're watermarked somehow.
How is
obviously he stole them off. Obviously, he stole them off his mom's computer. They were tagged for the court case, whatever. So that was the fight that led to them separating. The dad picked up all the pieces. Justin decided to do the right thing and testify, or not testify, but went to the police with Jessica. They put in statements. There was a weird scene where the guy that was supplying the photos was Ryan, the Asian kid.
What?
There was the scene where he was like, I was just too much of a coward to go against all these people, except I'm out in the open. I just don't like anybody or anything that's happening with this team. Tyler, I believe it is, the kid with the guns, becomes very unhinged by the end of it. To where the last scene of season 2 is they're at the spring fling, I think it was, and I've got to be very delicate because if you go from about 40 or 20 minutes in of that last episode, all this starts to play out where they have the trial. Bryce basically gets a slap on the wrist. Justin's sent to jail because he doesn't have a guardian to come pick him up. Essentially, that's where they get the idea to adopt Justin. And then at this point, Tyler has been caught and sent off to, because he got very, very worded about how he wanted to deal with things about 2/3 of the way through the season. And they were like, yeah, no, everything's cool. Everything's fine. Let's, and then they immediately went to the principal like, this guy is fucking deranged. So, they sent him off to get some help. Came back. Seemed like he was reformed. With everything that happened with Bryce and the team falling apart, the one buddy of his, took him into the bathroom and assaulted him, and that flipped the switch, and he was ready to shoot up the school to the point where they're having the spring fling. He pulls up in front with a car, opens the trunk, and he has an assault rifle. He has fucking 2 or 3 handguns. He's putting on the vest, and he's going towards the school. He's alerted his friend's sister, be like, maybe you shouldn't be there or whatever. And all the kids are like, we should lock the doors and call the cops. It's like, Clay then is like, no, I'm gonna be the hero. I'm gonna step up. I'm gonna save him from making this incredibly bad decision. I'm like, no, let's not do that because the cops need to deal with this situation. So he confronts him in front of the school. Tony rolls up in his Mustang and is like, "Get in the car so the cops don't take you away for attempting to do a school shooting." Clay. So the last scene is Clay holding the assault rifle by the butt out front of the high school dance, and Tony has just taken off with Tyler. So
no, that kid should have to talk to the police and get the help he needs.
Yeah. So I don't know. Like I said, I think it's important for the climate that the world is in right now. It's scary how prevalent these topics are. So I don't know. It was something for sure. It was this close to making you watch it, and they got to that last scene. I was like, no way. I got that scene burned into my brain. I don't want you to have that just because I wanted to discuss it. So, no thanks.
Yeah, because it would just be me yelling for a long time.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially considering we've had 2 shootings in the last week. The world's falling apart, and it's ridiculous.
It is. And then, fuck that show. I'm glad I didn't
finish
it.
So that's 13 Reasons Why Season 2. Yay!
Yay! Yeah.
So, how'd you guys stumble upon the kissing booth?
I don't know. Yesterday we woke up and I was doing the whole I'm not ready to get up thing, so I'm just gonna get out of bed, move to the couch, and fall asleep. And so she turned on the TV and put on Netflix, and she's like, "Ooh, I want to watch this kissing booth." And I was like, "Oh no," because I'd heard of it. And whoo boy, is that a movie?
Did you like it?
No, I did not. It's so bad.
It's really weird. I think it's weird for us just because we're 30-year-olds watching high school drama. It's I don't know.
Yeah, but the problem is that is a movie that is very bad, and not just as a bad movie, but the whole theme of it is it's about 2 very controlling men controlling this girl and she's completely fine with it. And it takes away all of her sexual agency. It's very odd.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. I think a lot of the problems I had with it was just because the actors themselves it was so odd how misaligned a lot of them were. I don't know. It was an alright movie. It was
wasn't. What are you talking about?
It was. I mean, if you're in high school and shit, but looking for a movie to put on the background for, I don't fucking know. It's a weird movie.
It's very weird. It's that whole I'm gonna protect you and because I love you. You gotta do what I say. It's so gross. It's so gross.
Except let's lie to everybody that we know about our relationship because your brother has a problem with it.
Then the younger brother's is I have no actual sexual interest in you, but you have to do what I say. You cannot have any autonomy in your life. And she even calls him on it. She's like, "We wrote these fucking rules when we were 6. What the fuck, man?" And he's like, "I don't know. Why don't you go bang my brother some more, you whore?" It's really weird.
That's all I got. That's all I got. So
don't watch it.
Also, didn't make sense. Were they sophomores or juniors?
Probably. Wasn't she 14? I don't know. That's really weird.
Well, not if she was starting to drive and he was driving. They'd have to at least be 16.
You can get a learner's permit. School permit.
But he was driving on his own. Well,
Yeah?
I don't think so.
Either way, it's really weird. Because she talks about,
I
like,
agree.
because then there's that weird thing where, like, then she went through, like, puberty that late. That's kind of weird. Because, like, the whole thing is, like, she comes back from summer, you know, like, summer break, and all of a sudden she's got boobs, and everyone's like, oh my God.
Yeah. So, I don't know.
Plus, there's some weird, there's a lot of weird sexual dynamics in it. It's very odd.
This movie is breaking my brain even more than it already had, because it seems so they would have been just getting back from summer break. Well, I guess maybe colleges start that much later than high school, I guess. But he was in high school.
Yeah, at the end of the movie is he's going off to college.
So this movie takes course over a year, I suppose. So
sure, even though it seems like it's like 2 weeks.
What a mess.
Although I imagine the montage of them fucking is supposed to be months long, because there is just a long montage of them fucking everywhere. It's really weird.
It's just super creepy. It's like
it's so weird, and like it's like we have this kissing booth, and I've never kissed anybody before, but now I kiss my crush. Oh, and now we're gonna drive out to the Hollywood sign and fuck because I'm ready. What? It's very. This movie is really weird. I don't understand any of it.
Yeah, I don't give it my nod. So
no, I didn't want to talk about it. I just saw it and wanted you to have to watch it. Is all.
No, I just wanted to bring up the fact that this was totally your choice. So but Cargo was fucking phenomenal.
It was okay.
Come on. It was pretty
Come
great.
on. Dude, I don't think there is such
as far as apocalyptic zombie movies go, this one's pretty good for me. I liked it.
Whereas I'm on like, it's a zombie movie, so none of them are great. There's no such thing as a great piece of zombie fiction anymore. Like the original short,
have you ever seen World War Z?
Yeah, I have. I really have. Which that movie?
I didn't know there was a short. Oh no! Yeah, I really like it.
Even though Lindelof rewrote the ending.
Yeah, it's definitely not. Well, of course he did, because it's so stupid and ambiguous, and of course the hero wins at the end. It's fuck him.
Come on, that's so cool. When he's all like, "I'm gonna drink this Pepsi and walk through these hordes of zombies," because I'm Brad Pitt and I drink Pepsi. It's really cool.
No, I think Martin Freeman did a great job. This whole idea of survival was really prevalent, just because he didn't necessarily care about his own survival, but for his daughter. It was weird that he had 2 days to give her away, though.
Was it? Like, I like the idea that there's a clock, but the problem is, like, there's no agency giving to it. Like, I feel like that movie took place over 17 days. Like, he's like, I got 48 hours, and you see like 7
It's great that there was such a problem with it that they built watches to be like, you have 2 days left, so.
But like, within the story, I feel like he was like, I feel like there was at least 4 or 5 times when, like, it went from day to night, yet he's still like, it only took 4 hours. I'm like, no, what? I just thought entire day-night cycle. What are we doing here, guys? I think it gets a little heavy-handed when you get to the same thing you always get to in zombie fiction, where, you know, people are the real monsters, and like there's the guy out in the plains. Like, it's a little heavy-handed, especially when you think of the idea of like, you know, it's touching on like colonization and how these people came in and, you know, disrupted the Aboriginals' way of life, and like now we're seeing that again, and like through this form of this what, you know, he's literally trapping them in cages to plunder the riches around them. It's not subtle by any means. But you know, you just keep going through that. The movie's kind of languorous. It just does the I meet this person, and now this is wrong, so we have to move on to this, and then we're going to move on to this, and just keep going back and forth. I mean, it's fine, I guess. It's there was some cool imagery in it, like the idea of like the infected like burrowing their heads in the sand is like supremely unsettling to some degree.
Mm-hmm.
And like they straight up got like a phenomenal baby actress, which is really weird because like either they were doing like 100 takes with that fucking kid or like it was spot on like sentient, because like there's some great shots. Like when Martin Freeman's saying goodbye to her and like he puts his forehead to her and just the way she reacts it feels so scripted, even though you know it can't be.
Oh yeah, for sure. The really thing I liked about it was these. It didn't give agency to them turning because they had that 48-hour window, but at the same time, they, for the most part, regained their human traits until they reached a point where they were zombies. So, it was cool seeing him transition. The strange goop that happened around their like wounds and stuff, like that. It was
almost like more than like a zombie infection. It was like they had really bad allergies, and like just this goop is coming out of their mouth and shit.
Yeah. Yep.
But
so I don't know. I really liked it.
I enjoyed it enough for what it was. I don't think it's anything spectacular, but for a first time film, it's okay. Like I just felt it. Just because something's good when it's short doesn't mean it needs to be extended, and you can see the tears.
Oh, that's what I was going to say. So what? How long is that short then?
It is 7 minutes, I believe. It's like 6 or 7 minutes. It's literally like he wakes up. He wakes up after the car crash. His wife has bitten him, and he knows he's changing. So like he literally like ties his hands together, like puts the thing in his mouth, and puts the stick with some meat on it in front so that he can carry his child, hopefully towards safety, but not endanger her.
Oh, right.
So it's like him getting ready to change.
That's awesome. I totally want to see that short now, man.
I'm pretty sure it's on YouTube. I don't know. I saw it years ago. Huh? And like the thing
if
was, like,
I'm able to find it, I'll put it in the description too, so you can check that out.
And what's crazy is like I didn't realize, like it was at the end when like the fucking like the baby's on the back, the Aboriginal, and they like I was like, oh, this is. And then I looked up, I was like, yeah, it's that short I saw. Okay, gotcha. Knew I'd seen that imagery somewhere before.
Very nice, very nice. So Picnic at the Hanging Tree, that was interesting.
Hanging Rock.
Hanging Rock.
Hanging
My
Rock.
bad.
Get straight. We really went to Australia.
I've been calling it Panic at the Hanging Rock for the last few days. So
Panic at the Disco?
I'm never gonna get it right.
Is that what we're
doing? I couldn't throw that away. Like I kept thinking it was that. So
fair enough.
Wrote it everywhere. Did you like it?
I liked some of it.
I can say I don't necessarily think I completely enjoyed it, but for being hour-long episodes, they really moved quite quickly. Considering it seemed like every scene was drawn out. If that makes sense.
Sure. I think same to the point based on a book which was turned into a movie of some well regard in the 70s. I don't feel that I feel they were hampered by deciding to make it this long. I felt that, especially in the middle, it ends up kind of dragging, and we get so deep into the backstory of like Mrs. Appleyard that you kind of lose focus on what was happening at the picnic. so once we get back to that point at the end, it feels so disjointed from the two. The storylines feel they never coalesce in the way I feel they should. It's a very beautiful show. I feel it tries too hard sometimes with it gets kind of showy with the imagery and stuff to try and elicit this dreamlike feeling. There's a lot of weird angles and changes to the camera speed and stuff to elicit these weird ideas. And eventually by the end, I was kind of like, what? You know, like, on both fronts, because, like, I'm not really sure that... Okay, who killed the little girl? Who killed Sarah? Because I never figured that out.
It would the headman or Applebury, whatever. Like, I'm guessing shoved her off the tower.
But the last time we saw her live was when she was running away fully clothed outside.
See, I think it looked like that, but when they went over it was an accident, they showed her in that same scenario, but it was from the clock tower, tower. Like, that room was that room looked as if it could be like a barn or an outside area.
Yeah, but the show specifically showed her pack all her shit up and walk out the front door and was walking down the road, and someone said Sarah, and the episode cut. And then the next time you see her, she's dead. Plus, with Applewood being as smart as she was, I don't believe she would just leave the body laying out in the garden. Especially when, like, everyone's asking, like, when the French mademoiselle's running around asking everyone about her, she wouldn't be like, I need to get the body out of the fucking garden where it's just hanging out.
It was also hard to keep track because at the beginning of the series, they started jumping forward to backwards. So it was hard to keep track if it was linear at that point. I think they only jumped backwards maybe once, but at that point it was enough that we've been watching enough of these cut up shows that it's just hard to keep track for me.
I felt it was narratively easy enough because in the first episode, it's all linear through the picnic, and then the four disappear. So then anytime you see the four after that, then you know it's a flashback because they've disappeared after the picnic. So that's how I just kept track of it, was because anytime it was
until
doing
they
any
found
flashback,
Irma, right?
Until they found Irma, but even then, I felt it was easy enough because she basically, once they found her, she was in the neighbor's house and then left. So still, anytime you saw her, almost anytime you saw her should have been flashback. But also, almost every time it showed those four characters were together, or at least some functioning coupling of them. So that's how I was able to keep track of the timelines fairly simply in my head.
Thinking about it more, I think I did enjoy it quite a bit. For being 6 episodes, it was relatively short. Like I said, they moved rather quick. I would recommend this over like Absentia or a couple of the other series we watched earlier this year.
Yeah,
for sure.
It has a really neat style to it. And Natalie Dormer is just really good. Like, she is.
Yeah, for sure.
And in the end, almost everyone is Jesus. There's times when, you know, you see something and you're like, what are these people doing? It's very campy. And then, like, an episode later, you realize, oh, this is what they were doing. They're towing this line almost very closely. And, you know, like, it's a show about, you know, sexual repression and this idea of, you know, Victorian customs and this idea of, like, hiding the secrets within versus this progressive idea of openness and fighting within each other. So there's a thread you can follow through the nonsense at times. Because, I mean, at times it's just nonsense. Like, once...
yeah. Okay, go. No, I thought it was cool because for the 6 episodes, it really showed, like, we were already in this aesthetic from Alienist and Terror, that, like, this was just a cool another. I don't see how they could do another one, but the series is still open, like it could be picked up. I would assume they could just do a miniseries like they are going to do with the Terror or whatever. But
no, I think
thought it was cool.
This is based on a well-known piece of fiction. Like, I think was just it.
Right on. But I think it's cool that we're so overloaded with things that have happened in this country. So it's cool to get out of the country and see that those same repressions were happening, and
plus
people fighting against that. So,
I accidentally programmed an Australian week this week by accident. No, it's interesting. Like, I wish, if anything, I wish we had just like cut it down a little. Like, maybe if we had done 4 episodes, made it a little tighter, it would have maybe been a little more enjoyable. There's some bloat in the middle episodes, I think.
Yeah, for sure. Is that all you have for Picnic then?
Sure.
On the main attraction, how awesome was Solo?
It was awesome. I really
liked it? Oh my god, yes! Oh, that's fantastic. I've seen such a varied response. I was like, he's going to come in, it's going to be just like Infinity War, where he thinks it's good, not great, and we're going to... No, I fucking love the shit out of it.
See, I'm more interested in your take, because you were the one who's like over Star Wars and keep telling it to go fuck itself every turn.
This drew me back into the world so goddamn much. I'm so excited. Like, I think they've announced this is going to be a series or a sequel, or there'll be 2 more sequels. I don't know if they're going to be solo. They've definitely announced Fett, and I think they're probably going to announce Obi-Wan later.
Well, they signed the kid playing Solo onto a 3-picture deal, is what everyone's going off of. But, you run in the fact that we live in the world where the movie opened to $103 million this weekend, and that's a disappointment, so who knows?
Jan is actually in the chat. What's up, Jan? He's surprised that we both dug it as well.
There was, I won't lie, at the beginning, that prologue section on Corellia, I was like, oh no. Oh no. I'm
totally the opposite. I didn't know anybody that was in this movie besides Han, Chewie, Lando, and then Woody Harrelson. So, getting the Dragon Queen right off the bat, and, I was like, all right, I'm absolutely in this, and he's stealing a land speeder and just fucking running from the law at that point. This is the Han I wanted forever.
But see, I was, kind of into that, but I was just in there being the cinematography is awful in that opening scene. It's reminiscent of, the early to mid 2000s where everything's fucking blue filtered, and I was just like, oh no, this is bad. And then he does the thing with pretending a rock's a thermal detonator, and I was like, that's kind of cute. I'll laugh at that. But then they do literally, which is the point that was so bad that I audibly groaned in the theater and shook my head and was like, I can't do this if this is what this movie is. When he's trying to get off Corellia, and they're like, what's your name? And he's like, Han. And they're like, what's your last name? Yeah, no, that
was totally a part of I was like, well, I guess we'll just name you Solo because you're by yourself. Yeah, I wish they would have just cut that and just fuck it, he's been named Han Solo forever. But
we live in a world where there's people called Fett and Qui-Gon Jinn and Skywalker, but we can't believe this dude's named Solo. We got to give him a fake name. And what's ridiculous is, one, later on in the show or in the movie, he starts talking about his father. So he obviously knows what his last name really is. He could have said it, or any name, but he's just like, I don't have any people. Huh? No people? Solo. That's it. It's like I was literally like, I can't do this. But then it turned around and I was like, oh, it's fun. Which, as much as I love Last Jedi, and I do, like, you can go listen to the episode 6 months ago where I blew it for an hour and a half or whatever. But, like, I wouldn't say that movie is fun. But this is. And, like, I realized how much I was missing that from, like, a Star Wars. Just fun.
It was so enjoyable to see, like, Han trying to prove himself and seemingly coming up short a lot of the time, and then just sticking with it. Like, when he sees the Millennium Falcon for the first time, and he's like, God damn, I want this. To the point where he gambled for it, got tricked, but went back and gambled for it and won. Like, you can see Han falling in love with this ship that he wants it to be part of his life. That I love the Lando stuff, like that he just has a fucking closet full of capes. There's so much fun stuff about this movie.
There really is. I'd say like that opening bit, it kind of drags a little, but once we're doing a fucking high-tech train robbery all of a sudden, and now we're doing like the Kessel Run. It just becomes so much fun.
I'm glad they had the separation, because I feel if it would have been him and her getting away and then trying to find a life, whatever, like, that was not the movie I would have enjoyed seeing. This one is definitely everything I wanted, because it's just him being a solo.
Being solo. No, it's good. I really like it. I was shocked.
Chewie's introduction was great. Just
like, I think like there's a million think pieces out there about why this movie is a failure and what it's doing wrong and why it lost, all this money this week.
Yeah, I got out of the movie on Thursday night, and like, you sent me, I can't remember how it went, but you told me it was like the most money put towards it, and I'm equating that because they switched directors and the other directors were screwing around, and just, I've heard that they were taking so many takes because they didn't know what direction they wanted to go, and then Ron Howard stepped in and was like, boom shot, boom shot, boom shot, boom shot. Like, but I love this movie. I don't fucking give a shit. If somebody says it's a failure, I'll fight them. I'll fist fight them right there and then
but,
there.
Within that, a preoccupation is the idea that prequels suck because they can't do anything interesting. Like, yeah, I we all know Han met Chewie while he was a slave, and we know he beat Lando in a card game to win the Falcon. Like, we know all these hints, but it doesn't mean it wasn't fun seeing it. Sure, yeah. I know he completed the Kessel Run in 12 parsecs, which should be impossible. Well, it doesn't mean it wasn't fun watching him do it.
That was so fucking fun. I'm assuming that monster is similar to what a Sarlacc is. Seeing it getting ripped to shreds from the gravity well was awesome, and like that imagery inside the maelstrom was like, that did it for me. Like, I loved in The Last Jedi the hyperspace, but this one blew the doors off of that. Like, that whole getting the fuck out of the maelstrom.
Yeah, it was really good. I wouldn't say it's better than like the crippling fucking Snoke ship with the hyper jump, but sure. No, it's just like, that's really all I can say is like, it's fun. It shows that, and Last Jedi touched on it a little bit with like some more moral ambiguity between characters, but Star Wars always needed like that Han character who's not white and black, Darth Vader, Luke Skywalker, light side, dark side. It's someone who is roguish and, is kind of out for himself, and he can do good things if it benefits him, but he can also do shitty things. It's all about, like, that anti-hero role is very needed. Oh, excuse me. And that's really missing within like the new movies, but I feel that is because, sure.
I don't think Han's death in Force Awakens hit me as anywhere close to anything until after this movie. I was like, fuck, he's gone and he won't be back. So
it's true. It's good. Can we talk about the one thing that would, I guess, be a spoiler? We're just randomly bringing Darth Maul back into the shit.
Fuck yes, we are. Fuck yes, Darth Maul. All of the Darth Mauls. I hope he had 4 or 5 children and they have just little Darth Maulians just running around everywhere. I've seen pieces that I believe this is after he's been cut in half. This is
because that would have been
after. I think this is where it picks up the comics and the Rebel show, I believe, where he was cut in half and then he was given robot legs. Because the double lightsaber that they showed is the one he has in the Rebels, I believe. So.
Yeah, it's definitely showing. I think Disney had said that the cartoons were canon once they bought it. But yeah, but also apparently, he shows up in that show and tries fucking people up, and he finds out Obi-Wan's alive and goes to kill him and immediately dies. Obi-Wan just fucking wrecks him. But it's interesting, I never, they kept talking about, Voss has, everyone, works for somebody. There's always another rung. And I was like, are we going to be, bring the Emperor into this? How deep does this go? And then all of a sudden, just, one, it was, a cloaked mask, and I was like, who the fuck? And then it pulled off, and I was like, what, really? Okay. Wouldn't have expected that.
Yeah, I think Darth Maul showing up has got me excited for anything else they want to do with this timeline. I don't really care about after, because I liked The Last Jedi well enough. I'm not really worried about what they're going to do with 9 because JJ is directing that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, Jan saying he expected Jabba. I was expecting Jabba too at the end. It was a nice little juke. Because this has got me so excited to see where the timeline is, how they expand on this story. I just want more of it.
Well, it's interesting. It's interesting that they bring this person in Solo. This whole it is just ragtag, guys with blasters, and then all of a sudden we're gonna be a former Sith Lord is here now. What's Han gonna pew pew at him? We can't bring these two characters together.
Listen, everything you heard was correct.
Yeah, Lando's good. Donald Glover's really good.
Lando's fantastic. He had so much swag in the movie. I'm looking forward to a Lando movie now.
I would be too, especially if they, talk about the fact that this show makes it canon that people are fucking droids. So let's just start doing that.
With everything that we've seen robot related this year so far, it's fine. That makes sense. We don't need more robots thinking they're people, but it's whatever. Make everybody human, I suppose. No, but oh my god, that brings up a great point. All the new creatures, this world is so rich, and to not explore that shit is such a travesty. So I'm glad we saw so many new character designs and everything like that too.
Yeah, that'll always be there. It's cool. I liked a lot of it. I think the end goes on a little long, and then the beginning's kind of out of control. But other than that,
Jan is wondering who 3PO is getting on with, so that'll be interesting for them to explore in number 9.
I imagine just
where do you get that red arm from?
I imagine remember because R2D2 was in that coma forever until they found Luke stuff. I imagine he was just just date rape styling it with R2.
He got the one shock, and that was too much for him, and now he's just a shock fetish.
Yeah, his fetish is being ripped apart, like.
Oh God, such a good movie. I'm gonna see it a couple more times for sure.
Nah, I don't have time for that shit, but it's good.
Listen, you should. Fair enough. So we loved it. Go see it. It's very hard for Luke to give a glowing recommendation. So
It
I mean,
is
there
not.
you go. It totally is.
Well, you got one 2 weeks ago with Avengers.
I mean, yeah, but who was going to say that sucked? Because it's fucking wonderful.
I had more problems with it than I did Solo, but
that's fine. I'm totally fine with that because that is not a standalone. This one absolutely is.
It's fine. It's good. Go see it. Don't listen to everyone else. I think if anything, they made the mistake of like, one, you put it out when fucking Avengers is still raking in the money and Deadpool. Like, it's a bad time to drop it. Plus, we just had a Star Wars like 5 months ago.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest problem that it's underperforming is because it's going against some that it just really doesn't have the weight to carry it, and it's only 6 months after we had the last Star Wars, and they haven't been able to promote it because Star Wars was talked about for 2 months after it released, and people are still bitching about what a disconnect or like what a travesty and how great it was. Like, they just weren't able to put this one on a platform like they have the last 3 of them that have come out in December.
Yeah, and it makes
the mark by not
so weird.
Shoving it to December.
I don't know why they just didn't push it to December. Like, they fought to keep this release date, and I think that's what hurt them more than anything. And again, everyone who says $103 million opening is underperforming can go suck a dick. Like, that's
I'll
like,
underperform all the time for $100 million.
Exactly. So screw off.
Yeah. So, what are we watching for next week then?
The regulars. Obviously, we still got a couple of episodes of Legion, Westworld. Theatrically, I don't know. Technically it's opening wide, but your theater sucks, so I don't know what you're getting. Action Point, and Upgrade if you can get it.
Okay. Yeah, I'll get out. I'll go out of my way to see those for sure.
And then, because they're opening in over 2,000 theaters, but you're obviously real small. And then
I'm pretty sure I'm going to see Adrift as well.
Yeah, I'm not. So nothing. You're good.
I'm a Shailene Woodley fan, so I mean,
good for you.
It's just a cross I'm going to fall on. Jurassic World comes out in 2 weeks, I believe.
Yeah, I think so.
2 or 3 weeks, but yeah.
All I remember is like next week. I think there's 3 movies coming out in theaters I want to see, which is crazy. But anyway, so we're watching those theatrically. We are going to watch Anon on Netflix, an original movie there. It's got Clive Owen in it, so yeah, we in on that.
It's old.
And then on Prime, I'm going to rent a movie called Revenge, and we're going to watch that.
I saw you throwing that in the cart, so yeah. I'm down. Right on. So check in with us for next week. See Solo a couple more times because it was a lot of fun, and I think that's about it.
Watch Solo once and then go watch something else. Like, quit watching shit all this over and over. Stop it, people.
2-3 times. 2-3 times. Make sure Star Wars brand stays alive.
It's fine. Star Wars isn't going anywhere.
That's fair. All right. Peace out, friends. We'll catch you next week. Peace, pineapple, all that good stuff.